How could a low-budget sci-fi thriller become one of the most important films of this cinematic age? The top 3 reasons might surprise you. It's your boy Dale, and these are 11 ways that A Quiet Place challenged Hollywood. Let's get right into it. Number 11, small budgets can make big noise. If there's one thing we could all agree on, it's that Hollywood adopted a throw more money, make more money attitude towards these big budget films these days. With multiple films a year reaching $100 million budgets, it doesn't just seem like they're seeing what films can make the most money. It seems like studios are competing to see which films can spend the most money. This is where A Quiet Place really shines. With the modest $17 million budget, it was able to rake in over $334 million, showing the big boys that you don't gotta spend triple-digit millions to make triple-digit millions. Number 10. Directors don't need tons of experience. While bringing in a highly decorated and well-experienced director looks good on paper and is probably amazing for pitching your film, it's not always needed to have a financial or critical success. While guys like Neil Blomkamp from District 9 fame or Ryan Coogler from Fruitvale Station have proven time and time again that you don't need a bunch of films under your belt to make a great movie, John Krasinski in A Quiet Place drives this point home. With only 2 previous films under his belt, he took up the reins to direct this movie at the suggestion of his wife, and I think it worked out well. What do you guys think? Number 9, franchises can be made organically. A Quiet Place was written by Scott Beck and Brian Woods as a standalone film. One studio actually wanted to make it a sequel to Cloverfield,
which a lot of Cloverfield fans probably would have preferred, but
the writers wanted this to be a standalone single film with no sequel already in the works. A Quiet Place went against the annoying Hollywood idea that sequels must be planned way before the first film hits theaters. It allowed the fans and the critics to decide if it even warranted a sequel, and it did. It's actually pushing its 3rd movie now, and it sends a big message out to Hollywood. Focus on the movie you're making. Thank you. Number 8, a minimalist approach to monsters can still be terrifying. As much as I enjoy an online monster fest like Godzilla and Kong, or seeing so much screen time of the Predator in the previous Prey movie, A Quiet Place reminded us that sometimes less is more. The terror mostly comes from not seeing the monster, anticipating when a random sound will summon the beast for a split second, and he'll take a character off the chessboard. That's one of the scariest aspects of this film. Number 7, sign language can be used in cinema. Pitching a film that uses sign language as a core element is probably no easy feat. Inclusion and diversity are words thrown around a lot in today's market, and a lot of barriers are hard to break without seeming forced, cheap, or downright cringe. So having a character who's hard of hearing or deaf and has to use sign language could prove as a challenge. But the use of sign language in this film is not just a characteristic thrown onto the main characters for the sake of doing, but is an essential part of the story and how the movie develops as a whole, making it not just some silly gimmick, but an exciting and essential part of moving the film along. Number 6, real couples play well on screen. Main stars and real-life husband and wife John Krasinski and Emily Blunt take on the lead roles as the mother and father in this film. They actually just welcomed their 2nd child into the world not long before they started filming this project. But Hollywood loves to put together 2 people and manufacture some on-screen chemistry, and for some reason, we don't see many real-life couples brought in to play couples on film.
Although we do get a lot of couples that are made on set and couples that last after films. Looking at all of you Spider-Man actors,
John and Emily came across so well on this film, and not in an overly lovey way that they try to push on rom-coms, but in a way that 2 people in real life might actually love each other on a day-to-day basis, while also dealing with an alien monster crisis. Number 5, extreme gore isn't needed and PG-13 horror can work. With R-rated films making blockbuster numbers these days, it's easy to say, don't hold back when you're making a film. Just do anything you want and it'll be okay. Horror films are really seeming to push the limits on what they can do. I'm looking at you, Jigsaw. And even superhero films are taking a bloody stance to filmmaking these days. Blood, gore, and R ratings are starting to be a baseline for films, and each film starts to one-up each other in this crazy succession of who can push the boundaries more. A Quiet Place not only managed to keep a PG-13 rating, but also keep the blood and gore to a minimum. So when we did get that occasional blood spatter or dismemberment, it really meant something. I mean, turning a woman stepping on a nail into one of the most horrific and suspenseful scenes in cinema is an amazing feat. You see what I did there? Amazing feat, stepping up. Yeah. Anyway, number 4, excessive branding isn't needed. Popcorn buckets, fast food collabs, sneakers, video game tie-ins, you name it, it's there. No industry is free from the mostly random branding that these movies seem to do these days. Sure, some collabs make absolute sense, like the Barbie rollerblades, because Barbie rollerblades.
Wow, this is the real world.
But others, like the Enter the Spider-Verse, Bun, Whopper, just seem a bit confusing and forced to me. A Quiet Place doesn't really rely on any of these merchandising marriages, and I think it's all better for it. I mean, could I have gotten some A Quiet Place ice cream? Maybe, but does it make sense? You tell me. All right, here we are down to the top 3 ways that A Quiet Place challenged Hollywood. If you haven't clicked, tapped, or whatever it is you do to the like button yet, and you enjoyed this video, take a chance and do it now. And let's just get into the top 3. Number 3, original concepts can prosper. Remakes, reboots, adaptations are all the rage now in Hollywood. It leaves little room for the new guys to come in with the fresh ideas. This is a big win for A Quiet Place. It not being a remake, reboot, or an adaptation pulled from a comic or novel, it shows that new and fresh concepts can really win and keeps the door open for other new projects. As much as we all want the next Fast and Furious film or Scream, we also need completely fresh ideas from time to time to keep us guessing. Number 2, actors and directors can cross genres. We often see directors and more often actors get sort of typecast into certain genres. They repeatedly do the same type of films and roles over and over again. The movie studios and the fans love it and we're used to it, and it's hard to break us out of other things, but they can do more. Seeing our favorite action star in a dramedy, or in this case, a comedic actor and director, John Krasinski, doing something like a sci-fi horror thriller might be a little off-putting at first, but it shows that they can really shine across multiple genres, and it should be allowed to. Number 1, not needing to know everything about a film, even in the film. Okay, so this one speaks more to the world nowadays and not just Hollywood. In this information age, we all want to know everything we can about things. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but in the case of movies, it could hurt a little. Months and oftentimes years before a film is released, we know so many details about the project that we slowly water down the excitement and surprise of the film. We know the actors, the directors, sometimes the script, what it's adapted from. We get set photos, we get leaks, we even get sequel announcements sometimes before the film is even released. And then we get teaser trailers, trailers, second trailers, TV spots, TV shows, podcasts, interviews. Essentially, we know all about the film before we even sit our butts in the seat to see it. And that's where we enter A Quiet Place. Seemingly coming out of nowhere with no source material or information of the director in this genre, we really didn't know what to expect here. Minus a trailer or two, or maybe an interview on a night show or something, that's really all we got to make a conclusion of if we wanted to see the movie or not. Reminded me of the old days of great films where you just had to make that choice. An extension of that, which fans and critics are pretty much divided on, is the explanations within the movie. We walk out of the theaters and we want to know so much more about what happened, why it happened, and directors and actors and movie studio producers are put on these podcasts and shows and Ask Me Anything Reddit sessions and just bombarded with questions of things about the movie that we probably didn't need to know about the movie because it wasn't in the film.
Hi, I'm Jordan Peele. Now, there are a lot of theories and wild conspiracy ideas floating around the internet about Get Out. So let's dive in.
In the case of A Quiet Place, many people wanted to know more about the antagonists of the film. They wanted to know where these aliens came from, what this family was doing in the 100 or so days before the film started. What was their dynamic like? Honestly, not having all that worked pretty well for me. I don't think we needed a big exposition from one of the characters to kind of take us out of the atmosphere of the film and explain everything that was going on and everything that was going to happen. I think that's what sequels and prequels are actually for. And in this case, we're getting that. This is a movie that just takes you along for the ride. It tells you to sit down, be quiet, and enjoy the film. Well, those are my top 11 ways on how Quiet Place challenged Hollywood. If you like this video, please check out some of my other... Y'all hear that? What? It sounds like...